All right, I think we are live-ish, pre-record. You know how it is. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast, episode 75. I am your host, Supreme King, and join with me as always is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy on Bezos.
How you doing today, man? How's
I'm
everything
doing
going?
great. I have gotten to the true ending of my personal game of the year, Sea of
Okay.
Stars.
See your stars, okay. The
Yeah.
true ending, huh? Okay. All
Took some
right.
work, but I got there. It was cool. It was a nice story. It's already winning like independent game of the year awards and everything. So I'm proud of it. It was fun.
I'm running through the newer-ish or the more remakes. We're gonna talk about Resident Evil later, but I'm running through some of their games now. Um, I've played like a lot of the older ones. I was kind of going in like a chronological order, but I'm playing the new ones. I'm gonna actually start Resident Evil 7 like probably at the start of the year. But that one's kind of short. I'm running through a lot of games that's going to be PS Plus games because I really don't know if I'm going to renew. I've got about a year-ish and some change to like really come to the final decision of whether or not I'm going to renew my prescription for Essential. Because they raised the price and I was like, I don't know about that, homie. I don't know about that, but... Yeah, we got some PlayStation news to talk about as well. One of your topics, we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But yeah, shout out to gaming. Big things coming in the next couple days. The first thing I guess I could mention that we could probably talk about briefly. The new Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer. There's going to be a new trailer this upcoming December 5th. At 9 o'clock in the morning. I find it to be funny because it's not going to be at the Game Awards. It's probably going to overshadow the Game Awards right before it starts. Because I think the Game Awards is like on the 7th, I think.
Okay.
Maybe people going to pay attention to it, but it would have been really crazy if Rockstar dropped this like the same day, but not at the Game Awards. But they decided to go 2 days earlier. So 9 o'clock in the morning, I think it's going to be on the Rockstar's YouTube channel and probably a few other YouTube channels.
Oh, so many YouTube channels.
And then everybody's gonna do their fish face thing and everything, and all
The
they're gonna make their
reaction. Yep.
yeah. What's funny? I'm gonna mention. I did record a video this morning, where I was gonna talk about in general the Game Awards, and I mentioned GTA 6. So I think that's going to come out Monday. Because if I don't do it Monday, then I run out of time. But yeah, that's going to come out Monday. I did another video that's going to come out also Monday. Two videos in one. Or two videos in one day. The other one is about my gaming pickups for Black Friday and November in general. So look out for that. First solo videos in like a month since the Activision deal, I think. Because my channel's been flooded with just the podcast, and then I'm just missing on my own channel. So I'm bringing some stuff back. I'm actually also, this is supposed to be a GTA trailer thing. I'm also going to invest in some more equipment. It's not gonna cost too much, but I'm gonna invest in some equipment to try to get my lighting a little bit better. But yeah, man, are you gonna watch this trailer? Are you gonna like lose sleep thinking about this trailer, man? On December 5th, what'd you think about this
I
trailer?
will see the trailer when I eventually get to the trailer. I'm not gonna lose sleep over the trailer. Like,
Somebody out there already losing sleep. I'm pretty
oh,
sure.
there's somebody just freaking out right now about it for sure. Like this is their life. But nah, I'll see it when I see it. I probably ain't even gonna see it live. I'm probably gonna catch it later. And I'm probably gonna have to like look for it because there's gonna be nothing but reaction videos.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna search it under just the Rockstar channel. I don't need to go find the
Yeah.
most viewed version. I would like to see nice crisp 4K ish version. I don't want to see anybody's reaction video version. Because what can you say about Grand Theft Auto at this point? It's like it will be some new features. That's kind of what I said in the vid, that I'm pretty sure that we haven't seen before. But largely, it's going to be the same mayhem that we've been seeing this whole time. Interesting enough, though, I heard about the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. I don't know if it's the trilogy version, but apparently all three games, so Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and San Andreas, is going to be available on Netflix. And I don't really know. I have Netflix technically. I don't have Netflix gaming. I don't even know how that's set up. I just know I had the base regular version, but if you got Netflix, you might be able to play these games. I might look into it. I might have to make a note to look into it and see, like, what do? You just grab a controller or something if you got it. I don't know. I'm not into the Netflix tiers. Do you know how the Netflix tiers are set up?
Not
Like
at all. I quit on Netflix. So
but apparently, they get in the Grand Theft Auto trilogy.
yeah, I had canceled Netflix a long time ago, so no idea.
I'm gonna look into it. If they're getting it now, they're gonna at least keep it throughout the holidays. So maybe I can just like figure out how to set it up with like one of the Xbox controllers or something and play one of them, see how it is. Because I wasn't about to buy that, but since I still got access, I'll check it out, I guess. But yeah, some quick news I could throw in here because I don't think it's that important. Uh, the game the day before, if anybody remembers, this was the Last of Us ripoff that kind of like buried itself when they released that gaming footage of like people literally just running down the street and not like attacking the zombies, and they purposely avoided it or whatever. That game is finally going to be releasing in early access on PC on December 7th. For anybody who is still interested, and maybe you play the game and you don't avoid the zombies, that will be there. Um, yeah, so for anybody, I don't have much Xbox news at all, but I will like to give them a shout out for putting one of the hottest games on Game Pass. It is the game on the screen that is Remnant 2. They put Remnant 1 and 2 on Game Pass. And the second game is still pretty hot. We're still playing it, and it's in one of the Game of the Year categories. Not Game of the Year, but I think Action Game of the Year. So hopefully it wins it. And yeah, they put that in Game Pass. Game Pass, I guess, got like 13 game drops, and it was including Remnant 1 and 2. Those are the big highlights for me. But I think the other big one went in there was Far Cry 6 for anybody who ain't played yet. But yeah, shout out to Remnant 2. Yeah, I guess I mentioned it before. I guess we can talk about it right now. One of your topics, Resident Evil remake, or the remakes. More remakes coming. What you want to say about it?
So Capcom was just, like, thanks basically for the success for like the Resident Evil 2, 3, or 4 remakes.
Mm-hmm.
They're loving the feedback and how well they're doing, and they're happy that the crowd's enjoying it. Uh, and as someone, like the one of the creator, like the one of the guys in charge, is, as somebody who loves the older games, we want to continue doing more and being able to bring back the joy that I guess he felt playing the older games. For
Okay.
a new crowd is always great. So he's like, what remakes we make in the future will be something we'd like to announce in the future. So please look forward to it.
Okay.
But they were kind of confirming that there will be more Resident Evil remakes. There are people who are pushing for a Resident Evil 5 and 6 remake, which I'd be down for because I like those games. I know everybody else wants to hate on them, but I like Resident Evil 5 and 6. So,
I don't think 6 needs to be remade though. I think
you don't think
6
so?
looks it because most of the point is to modernize it, right? I feel like 6 already looks
I feel
modernized.
like not necessarily modernized for 6, but I feel like they could sharpen up the story, I guess, a bit.
Uh-huh.
Like some people were complaining about, like the 4 campaigns. I feel like I personally like them, but I know with some of the people's complaints, if they can like, I guess, sharpen them up or like make them a little more interesting for people. But five is for sure the one that I want remade.
For any hardcore Resident Evil fans, the most sought after one is going to be called Resident Evil Code Veronica or Resident Evil Code Veronica X, maybe.
Uh huh.
X was technically the remaster one that went on to like GameCube and PS2, and there's an Xbox. I don't know if it's the 360 version, but Xbox One version or whatever. I know it's on. I actually bought the Xbox version. But that game, if anybody can't wait, it's typically under $5, usually in the holiday season on all the platforms. But that's the one where it's supposed to pick up with Claire's story right after Resident Evil 2. But it never really got modernized. A lot of people know it as the one that's supposed to be Resident Evil 3, but they didn't call it that because it went to the Dreamcast and it's so much stuff that had nothing really to do with the lore. It was more about the business behind it. Um, but Resident Evil 3 officially almost basically could have been Resident Evil 4. Or I think Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil Code Veronica basically switched titles or switched names or whatever. Or I don't even know how to say it right. Basically, it's all old news. It's all old news anyway. Somebody could probably tell me in the comment section the correct way. But basically, that's one of the older games that could be remade. That's like really, really considered outdated at this point. Resident Evil 4 wasn't that bad as it was, but they remade it anyway. And now that one's like all the way in the game of the year category, which is fine, which is cool.
Which is
Um,
something that I think could happen maybe for six, right? Where like four didn't really need it, six maybe doesn't need it, but they can like sharpen
See,
it
the
up even a
difference though
bit
is
more.
6 was already in HD, where 4 was like a GameCube title. You know, like
True, but
there
also
was a big difference there.
wasn't the storyline for the two remakes shorter?
No,
The,
it wasn't 2, it was 3. Three's
or three were
three
shorter?
has stuff taken out of it, like the clock tower and stuff was
Yeah,
taken
so
out
I'm
of it.
not saying take out things from six, but if they could
Hmm.
sharpen, I guess, certain things from six to make it flow a little better,
Uh-huh.
in a way, I don't know. Like I feel like there's some things they could do to adjust it a little that'll get it to be less. Hey, they could even rework it to make it a little scarier for certain of because it felt like the Leon story was very action, of course, oriented, but then the Chris
Hmm.
Redfield story was also very action oriented, and then Wesker Junior's was very action oriented, and then
Yeah, the whole
uh
thing was
the
because I
spot
think.
right where it could make like rework it to where it's still the same kind of story, but Leon's is a lot like more like in the more horror aspect, so a lot more
Hmm.
surprises and like jump scare and like the scary stuff like that. Chris Redfield could stay more action packed because they're all militarized, and then rework Wesker Junior's a little less like on the action end and more of the superhero action, and considering he had like the powers and stuff to a degree, and then like the Code Veronica one, or not for Code Veronica, the what's her name? With the Ada,
Hmm.
story, like make it way more spy like. I guess like make each campaign it's like a little more into the theme of the character instead of just being all action. I
Only
feel
way I
like
could
could
see
help with
them
it.
doing that game, unfortunately, is if they treated the way Square Enix did Final Fantasy VII, where they split it into two games. Because that's the only way I could see them
Uh,
like really trying to do the story. Because the story was just set up where they showed the same thing from different angles. But if they really wanted to like make it more horror based, because to the fan base, the hardcore fan base, that's kind of the black sheep of the like series in a way.
uh huh.
And the majority would say, well, make it more like 2, 3, and 4. And so if they did that, they would probably simplify it down to just two people they could probably do still the co-op and stuff, but it would be just I could only see them doing it like Final Fantasy Integrate and Rebirth, where you just have this longer drawn out thing split into two different games. Um, Probably because the way it looked in that game, the Leon story like carried like the first half in a way. Even though you got with the other two people, but and then the Chris Redfield was like the other half, and they had his confrontation with Resker's son and stuff like that. Like that, like all the moving parts there was going kind of fast, even though it was going really long. Like if they fleshed that out and made it more drama, I can only see them just making it two games, or maybe if they put it in one like a two disc set or something like that. But I don't see the campaigns being like all in one game with today's like in today's crowd or whatever. I can only
Okay.
see them doing it like Final Fantasy VII. I don't know if the fan base would want that because that means you would just have to pay for two games,
Yeah, that's
and it's
140
gonna
bucks.
be 70, 60 or $70. Resident Evil 4 was 60 though. They didn't charge 70 for it. But
Uh, Capcom did say they're moving to 70 now.
yeah,
Starting with what I forgot what's coming out in January, but some their next game that comes out is going to be at 70. Like Capcom, the
okay.
reason why the last one was 60, Capcom was holding out for moving to 70, but they did already say their next game will be 70.
Yeah, I'm very much invested in the Resident Evil series. I could see Revelations 1 and 2 being the games that they move forward. If they do it, I would want them to like do the opposite of Final Fantasy 7 is like combine those two. Like make a nice beefy game out of both of those. I wouldn't really want it to be separate, but
Yeah.
those are the only ones I could think of. Some of them Operation games that was considered failures from back in the day, they could just leave those back in the day. It like it really could have just been like Code Veronica and then Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 is pretty much the only ones that I would want to see. Other than that, focus on 9, focus on the future. I don't need them to keep remaking the rest. 5, I could see them moving forward. I would want them to treat 5 the same way they treated 4, where it was pretty much just modernized controls, over the shoulder viewpoint, but it's still relatively the same as 4. Um, but that's the tricky one because that's the one that was controversial because you was in Africa and then everybody was saying all you doing is shooting Africans. So I don't know
Ugh.
if they really want to go there. It would be funny if they have the setting the same way, but then it's like completely multiracial or something, so they could just avoid everything that was happening before. But I
That'd be
don't know.
weird.
It, but that was the one that was more controversial for them for.
I think the issue is they would have to make them more zombie like. Like I think the issue is you could argue like a huge chunk of them wasn't even zombified. They were just like I
Yeah,
think
they
that was the
was
issue. 'Cause, like,
because they was
uh,
talking. Some of
yeah,
them
no,
was
right.
saying because I don't speak the
Battle
language, but you
commands.
can. They had lines that they were saying in their language.
Remember the big dudes? They were like not even like they were holding Gatling guns. They
Mm-hmm.
were smart. They would yell out battle commands and people would follow. And it's like, okay, well then they're not zombies. It's just a war.
Yeah,
Like, so I think they have to be way more zombie.
I think those were the first zombies too. They was on bikes and
Yep.
leaping from the area and stuff, and so I mean they kept coming out with so many Resident Evil games that people quickly forgot about it. But if they was to really make a one-to-one remake with modernized controls, especially as cancel culture is as heavy as it is now, like they would run right back into that issue again. I would it would make more sense for them to ignore that, but that's technically one of the last ones to do. I mean, because they if they was going in order, that is next.
Yeah.
Um, but I would expect Code Veronica to be before then, though.
Okay.
If they're really listening to their fan base, I would expect that. But I'm here for it. I'm playing the games right now. They're fantastic games. Um, I think also to consider Resident Evil 0 and 1 was technically remade to be on or not it was remastered, not remade, but they were brought to the GameCube and the PS2 at one point and then ported over. I got them on PS4. They looked their best on PS4, but I think you could play them on the PS3 as well.
Okay.
Those two I could see being remastered if they really go for the very very first one. I'm probably buying that bad boy right away, just like I did with the other ones. Um, if they do 0 and 1, I will buy those if they make them more like 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
If it those would be more cash cows for them than anything though. Like, cause they have their formula. All they would have to do is really reskin their monsters and build the castles. Like once they have that, they'll pop the other game out, which they're very easily doing every 2 years anyway. So I could see them doing that for Code Veronica 0 and 1 especially, because those are like the oldest. Um, and then I guess 5. I don't know how they would do 5 without dealing with that controversy though, because we're talking 2025, 24, and 25 and stuff. It's gonna get worse and worse. The more people,
Again,
no,
you have to. So one, like, oh, one. What's her name? The girl, Shiva.
mm-hmm,
She has to be from there. Like one, she got to be from there, and not be like a damsel in distress. Two, I think you can get away with the whole hero being white thing because it's Chris. It's Chris Redfield. It's an established
mm-hmm,
character, so they're fine there. But Shiva got to be like way more obviously like from there. Then also there has to be some cutscene backstory stuff where like everybody's like average citizens and then like like some of them are turning right. And they have to be like full obviously zombie. There's no like are they a zombie? Like they have to. It has to be clear that they're a zombie. But you make the people sympathetic, so it's more you're trying to save the people that are still healthy instead of just saying, "Well, they're all zombies." Like that's what they would kind of have to do. Uh, that's their safest bet. Uh,
Another thing with 5 too though is the whole Chris punching the boulder thing. It's almost
that gotta stay.
iconic in itself.
That
Where
gotta stay.
yeah, I don't think you could just get rid of it. It'll just be more ridiculous the second time around. But I think you would be
I
doing a disservice to that particular game, the memory of the game,
oh yeah.
if you took it out. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
The only
I'll
other option.
definitely be buying them though. I will
Other
be.
than, the only other option would have to be if like have like all the zombies like multiracial and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to take place not just in the like unknown parts of the soldier Africa. It would have to be like a tourist ish spot where
Yeah.
this thing breaks out. So it's like primarily like citizens and everything of like whatever region they're in, but then like a lot of tourists infected as well. So there you get multiracial, I guess. I don't know. Like, I would hope. I know this is a big hope, but that like with it being the remake of a game that people kind of understand
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Like and knowing where it's at. And like the remake, it just took place here. It happened to take place here. But I think they need to give it more of a reason of why it's there, so that you could do a cutscene.
I mean, they could avoid by like doing a race swap or a reverse race swap. I don't know how you say it, but
Oh yeah, but
that
I
would
don't want
actually
them to.
be bad if they did that. But
That'd be because then you're like really bringing attention to it.
yeah,
Like I feel like they don't have to do that. They just have to throw in some cutscene to be like, well, why was Chris and them deployed here anyways? Right? Like
yeah.
really make it be like, because you're 5 games in, so this is a scary like a virus thing going around, and this is the place where it's at now, and it's already broken out, and it's like, uh-oh, now we have to jump in here and intervene. Like there just needs to be some extra cutscene behind it, and I think they'll be fine. I'm gonna play it anyways. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Just to recap though, I want to see Code Veronica the most out of them, but I can see them doing Code Veronica 0, 1, Revelations 1 and 2, and then 5. I guess 6. I still doubt they would do 6, but that's enough in it as it is. I really don't think that all of those need to be remade. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like if you do 0, you probably should do 1. And if you do Revelations 1, you probably should do Revelations 2. But I'm more of like go to number 9 and 10. I would like to just see the story progress. You have the
I was
formula.
hoping. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying you have the formula for first person and third person, so I would just like to see the next chapter, if
Yeah,
there's a next chapter, more
I
than the
thought they were
remake.
gonna do a what I'm calling now like the Pokemon thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where Pokemon was doing like, all right, here's our new one, and then here's a remake of the old one, and then here's a weird
Mm-hmm.
experiment, and then here's the new one, and here's the remake of the old one, and then here's a weird experiment like that. Uh, and I thought they would do that here, like back and forth between like, here's Resident Evil like 8, or like here was like the Resident Evil 7. Here's a remake. Then here's Resident Evil 8, and then here's another remake. And then I thought they were gonna move back to like Resident Evil 9, like go back and forth between the
Mm-hmm.
two. In a way, one modernizing the old one so you really get that feel, and like you get to replay them, you get to relive that story and things like that. But then also it gives them breathing room for the current ones, because it's not like people are forgetting. Like here's a Resident Evil game that looks great, and then in those remakes they can potentially try a mechanic right out to see, because people are going to get it because of the remake. And if the mechanic in a short section is like nice and everything and it gets praised, then they can make sure to put it into the like the next game, right? Where and then if it didn't look like nice, they know to avoid something like that. So I don't know. That was my hope.
Out of all of them, I think Code Veronica needs the remake the most because it was a prominent part in the story that got overlooked because the Dreamcast went, or Sega, or well, Dreamcast, not so much Sega, but the Dreamcast went out of business like almost immediately,
Yeah,
which made the game kind of lost on the system. By the time it was ported on the other systems, Resident Evil 4 was out and it kind of like overshadowed it basically, like completely. And it's kind of just there in limbo. Only people like really invested in the story care about it, but it hadn't really had enough um like it didn't get its just desserts basically. Easy cash cow for them if they was to do it. I think all of them really are. Resident Evil is at a point where it's really a machine for Capcom, despite them still having like Devil May Cry or Monster Hunter. Resident Evil is just an oil machine for them because even when one of them might be considered bad, it's like quickly overlooked. Like Resident Evil 3 wasn't bad, but it was considered very short and not necessarily worth the full price. But it shines now because you can get that heavily discounted anywhere. Not even just during the holiday season, but a lot of time with really good sales all year round. So like I've seen it for like $10. Who cares if the game is 6 hours if it's $10, right? So
I agree.
yeah. I guess we can move on from there. Um did you see the PC game show?
I
Did you
did
watch
not.
that
I
video?
had a crazy busy week. I didn't have time to see it.
All right, my co-hosts or the chat. I should let y'all know. I I tried. I tried again. He did not watch the Playdate one. See now, see. My co-host is not watching these shows, man. I'll be trying. I'll be trying to get him the stuff. He
Tell
ain't
us
watching
about
the
it.
show.
I watched
Um,
enough over the summer. Tell me about it. Like, did they show anything new? Because I swear, if I would have found time this week to watch it, and it's just a bunch of repeat of games that I already saw earlier, I would have been upset. So,
all right, so
is, was there
there
anything
may
new?
be there might be a repeat game here and there. They may have showed
It
Persona
was
3
mainly repeat.
They may have showed Persona 3 Reloaded. You know, they may have showed Hollow
Okay.
Knight Silk Song, the sequel. They may have showed Tekken 8, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They may have showed Avow. They may have showed Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, you know what I'm saying? They may have showed, Hades too, you know what I'm saying? They may have showed some marathon, they may have showed some Elden Ring DLC. They may have showed some stuff, some Stalker too, But you still ain't see it though. You ain't see none of this, man. You ain't know. You ain't
Almost
see
all
none.
of those sound like things I've seen already.
They
Maybe
showed
not the ultimate DLC, but like
they
I remember the
showed
rest.
they showed a game that I'm still looking forward to very much so. That was called Flintlock, a game I've
I've
talked
seen
about in
that
the
before too.
past.
Did they show
Um,
more Phantom Hellcat?
no, they didn't show Phantom Hellcat. Flintlock, I thought it was a very good showing. It was one of the best ones yet. Flintlock: A Siege of Dawn. Um, the footage that they show, I don't think the game has a release date yet. It's definitely high on my radar. Probably one of my top 5 indie games of next year. I might do a video tallying up what those are for next year. But yeah, it looked really good. They showed that. They showed 2 new games that I didn't see before. Um, so one of them was called Spine. It looked like Trinity from the Matrix, almost doing a lot of Matrix style stuff, but it wasn't actually Trinity. It was like a younger girl in all black or whatever, but she was doing a lot of like rolling over a person and bringing out the guns and shooting and some slow motion type stuff. I'm like, okay, I like this. This looks really good. That was actually one of their best showings of the day that I didn't see before. And then there was a game called Holstein. I think it's Holstein, but maybe I got that wrong. But it looked like old school Resident Evil. It looked like the really really old stuff, the top down stuff, and it would switch into first person view. Like it would switch back and forth from top down to first person view in certain areas, and you shoot some zombies. You throw some the cocktails, the Molotovs at them and stuff like that, set them on fire. So it had a lot of that going on. That game has a demo. So Holstin. I think it's Holstein. Maybe I got it wrong. Am I pronouncing that right? I don't know.
That sounds right.
It got a demo
Holstein.
though. I wish listed on Steam. I might actually play the demo for the podcast at some point. I'm really looking forward to getting a new PC at some point, probably towards the tail end of the winter, and I plan on running through a whole bunch of these games like constantly. All these indie type games, but they showed a couple of them. I guess the show was called PC Gaming Show's Most Wanted. So it's kind of like a most anticipated show. So a lot of it was old stuff, but it was kind of a head scratcher because they showed some stuff that was like already out. Like they literally was like, this is out right now. So I'm like, well, how's the most wanted? But as a show, I want to say it was like a 5 out of 10. I can't really say it was that good because yes, they were. Well, I mean, I know the whole point was for it to be most wanted, so they show a whole bunch of stuff. But at the same time, there was a whole lot of dev interview talking going on. And then the stream itself, I think it was like 2.5 hours. I think the actual show is supposed to have been 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and some change. I felt like it was an hour too long. They could have really shortened that up. They didn't need to do a like what seemed to be top 30 um, of the most anticipated games and really flesh out each one with like interviews and like people talking on like Skype or not Skype, Zoom, from their living rooms or whatever, or not living room, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like I was just like it was too much dev talking basically.
Yeah.
The games were going by really quick for this to still be like a 2 hour show. It was like, here's this trailer that lasts like exactly 60 seconds or something. But then here's this dev portion that's like 2-3 minutes. And that was like each game. And I'm just like, okay. Like I don't need somebody to tell me. Like it was to the point where I think one of the games that they said was most anticipated was GTA 6, and ironically they didn't have a GTA trailer, so it was just people trying to talk about it. And it's just like, okay. I like, yeah, I don't need to hear it. I put it up on 3 different screens and ran it for like 40 minutes each screen, until it was over. I wasn't gonna sit there for 2.5 hours for the whole thing. So 3 portions of it and knocked it right out. But yeah, it could have went a little bit faster than what it was. It did not need to be that long. However, I do still like the fact that there's a show possibly once a month and it's not 50 shows in 1 week or something like that. So I can appreciate this being here and not followed by another show like probably today or something while we're recording. And it's like another show 3 hours later. So it's like, okay, I'm fine with it being one show and that's the show of the month. But it should have been shorter. Like it probably could have been once every like half of it now, half of it next month. But yeah, there was still some good stuff there. Just not as much as I would have wanted. Everything. Yeah, we seen most of it already. We did see most of it already, but
Okay.
I appreciate the new stuff that I did see. Like I said, one of the games was Spine, and the other one was Hosting, and Flintlock was already shown before, but it's a much lesser profile, much lesser known game. Those are the 3 that I'm looking forward to. They're all wish listed on Steam. Um, Everybody should go check out Spine, Spine. And tell me what you guys think about that. That was the Matrix looking one. It sounded like that's a PC only game from what they were saying. They didn't mention any other release. But yeah, I guess we can move forward. Let's go ahead and knock out the halfway point right now, because I think this is going to go a little bit quicker. So with the halfway point, I usually talk about the unofficial sponsor that owes us way too much money at this point. They could have paid off all of our debt at this point. So when they send out, those due dates and stuff, I'm like, listen, forward that to Epic. But no, so they got a bunch of games that are released for free every week. They usually do 2 of them. One of them that's going to be coming out next week, I have a story about. But the 2 games that's coming out for this week, one of them is called Jitsu Squad. I looked into it. It's inspired by Marvel versus Capcom, and it's a beat 'em up style game. It does have that same type of graphic style too. For anybody who's a fan of those old school fighters, beat 'em up style, so it's not a versus thing. You just kind of do kind of like a Streets of Rage, kind of thing. So yeah, pretty cool little game. That one you can claim right now. You have until the 7th to claim that one. The next one was called Mighty Fight Federation. That one is basically like an arena fighter. You also have from now to December 7th to claim. And remember, once you claim these games, if you didn't have a PC, once you get a PC or any one of the handhelds, I always recommend the ROG Ally is my personal favorite. But then you also have the Steam Deck, the Luigi Legion Go, the Lenovo Legion Go, and then probably countless other ones. They keep coming out with these handhelds. I expect another one, honestly, to jump into the market next year. Once you have one of these and you log in Epic Games, all of these games will be there. Whatever you have under a Steam library, that will be there as well. I do advise people, whenever you see games that are like under $10, even if you don't have a PC, get them on Steam. Don't be afraid to do that, because once you get your stuff, you have this bigger library, right? And then there's all these free games that I talk about every week. The 2 games that are going to be released for December 7th to December 14th, interesting enough, Well, one of them is called Predecessor, and this one is like a third-person shooter, multiplayer online type game, 5-on-5 fighter, those type of things. And I think that one is brand new. It just released yesterday. Epic is going to make it free under their platform starting on the 7th. So look out for that. The other game, this is interesting enough because I was preparing for this morning. You have a topic that we could probably add to this right now because it's kind of like in the sales and stuff. But one of your topics was, are there any games that you're looking to get before the end of the year? There was a game that I wrote down. This game was called Gigabash, and it wasn't necessarily a game that I would want to get that bad, but basically, it's kind of the same kind of thing where it's like somewhat of an arena fighter, but you play against the computer. You don't have to play online. But then you can play online as well. But the DLC included Godzilla. One of them was a Godzilla DLC, and the other one was Ultraman DLC.
I know
And
what
you
you're
get
talking about now.
these character packs, right? And then you play as Godzilla and all these other people. I would have only played it as Godzilla, right? I wouldn't have really worried about the rest of it. But the base game is $24 on every platform. The Godzilla DLC is $10, and the Ultraman DLC is $10. That would have been the game. It was on my list to get for Black Friday, and I just didn't because it wasn't really in the Black Friday price range that I would have wanted it to be. It would have been just over it and not necessarily worth it, in my opinion. But to bring it back around, apparently it will be under the Epic Games for December 7th to December 14th. I just so happened to
Okay.
see that today. So I'm kind of excited about that. Now it is just the base game. So
But
for
now
the
that means
part,
you only have to buy Godzilla
yeah, I have to
specifically.
buy the Godzilla DLC. I will probably get both DLCs, the Ultraman and the Godzilla one, but I will wait for a sale on them and just keep this game in
Okay.
the back burner. But I won't have to buy the whole game. This one was released earlier as digital only, and apparently, which is interesting, Limited Run was doing a physical release of this that literally just went on pre-order yesterday. So from December 1st to December 31st, you can pre-order the physical edition of this under Limited Run, and it's only $40 there. If
What
you
system
bought, huh?
is it on? Like what system is it?
The Switch and the PS5.
Okay.
For whatever reason, is another one of those things where they're just not going to put it on Xbox, at least for right now. I don't know, but at least the physical version. So the digital version is on Xbox though. But for whatever reason, they're only doing physical on Switch and PlayStation. Silly enough. But if you bought the full game right now, let's say if you only wanted to play it on the Switch or Xbox or PlayStation digitally, it will cost $44.97. Um, and if you got I guess, the Epic Games version, you would just have to pay for the DLC, which I believe would be like $9.99 twice.
Yeah. Yep. Nine
So
ninety ninety.
what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna wish list the DLC, wait for those to drop down to like $5 each. Honestly, don't have no intentions on playing this game unless I'm playing as Godzilla. I'm gonna be honest, or some of the
Oh, I
Godzilla.
wouldn't mind playing Ultraman.
Yeah, some of the like real like characters that you know. The
Yeah.
base characters in these games are just like made up characters for the game, so it's
Unless
not.
like some of them, I don't know. I'm looking at this trailer again.
Hmm.
Some of them do look kind of cool. Like I might try it out and
Yeah,
then go back to Godzilla.
but it looks more like a arcade type game, so I don't know if I would have paid $40 plus for arcade type game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just chose not to get it, but that was high on the list of one of the games I would have wanted to get. As a side note, Godzilla minus one is very white hot right now. It's apparently having
Yeah.
really hot reviews. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it. Probably still going to see it in the theater if I can help it. But it's very, very hot. And they've done a good job with some of these Godzilla movies as of late. Cause
Is
I'm
minus one Japanese?
yeah, that's the Japanese
It's
one.
subtitled, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in American theaters right now. Um, but yeah, so that technically would have been my game, and those are the free games of this week. I don't really have any sales. I mean, all the big sales was like the Black Friday. If you didn't catch them, then you kind of have to see what's left over for Christmas, I guess. After that, I think there's still going to be some form of a liquidation, like a light liquidation in a lot of retail stores where they don't advertise it. It's just you got to go in a particular store and get physical copies of stuff on the cheap. Probably more on DVDs than on the video games, but I can imagine they're gonna try to get rid of all this stuff. I'm
Well,
very
uh,
curious. Yeah, go ahead.
with that, I was gonna say that ties into another topic of mine, uh, which kind of sucks. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
PlayStation. So, Discovery, right, was all your reality type shows. That's what they did,
Hmm.
and HBO owns those. So they had Matt, which was like your regular TV shows, your dramas and things like that, or your superhero stuff, and then your reality shows. And a lot of people were watching all the reality show stuff, and not enough people were staying on the Max, like HBO Max. So that's when they fused them. So they put the Discovery stuff with it,
Hmm.
but HBO owns all of that. So PlayStation, I guess, lost its contract or their streaming rights to like stream a lot of these Discovery shows. Oh, they lost their licensing agreements. So because of that, uh, PlayStation is about to delete a ton of TV shows that are like Discovery because Discovery wants you to get HBO Max. They don't want you to get it in a different way.
Hmm.
Uh, so they're going to be deleting them. The problem is they're also deleting from people's libraries, even if they were purchased. So people who bought like, and some people were complaining, it was like some reality show that they bought a full season of that's in their library to watch whenever they want. After this purge, is just going to be gone from their library, even though they bought it, which is showing that digital media is rentals. They're not purchasing. Like you don't
Yeah.
own it; it's always going to be rented. So like all this whole push to moving things digital was always they kept saying it was because then if it's digital, we it like will last forever, right? Because if it's only on physical media, if the physical media is destroyed, it's gone. So the whole point
Hmm.
of digital was supposed to be that you don't have to worry about that anymore. It lasts forever. But then if we could pull a license and now it's just gone forever, right? Or this ties into like certain shows where an episode might be considered problematic from outside looking in. So then the episode's just removed, like they did with South Park and Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like instead of letting the person decide, like this is offensive, I will not watch this episode, it's just gone forever. So that if they release DVDs or anything later, it's not on there. But now if they're not doing physical media will now be the only way you would have those old South Park episodes because anything digital has removed them completely. So that if also physical media goes away, those episodes are now lost to the average person who's not gonna pirate things. But that's so digital media is kind of ruining that now. So like MythBusters and things like that are just gonna be gone. I don't like the idea that if you paid for it, you should now own that license for
Yeah.
it. And it might be locked to that console or something like that, which is weird. But to be like, you bought it, but then the copyright owner decided to pull it, or the server's gone, so now you just don't get to access it anymore, even though you bought it. Like, that is a horrible thing to do.
Yeah, I think PlayStation was. I've already said this too many times already. They keep having back to back bad news and not so much any good news. But this particular situation, I think they're going to run into a situation similar to the UK thing where they might end up getting a lawsuit. It might be a very unique kind of thing, but I could see a situation where that might happen on like a
That's
bigger
gonna hit them for
community.
this one. Like if I lose stuff, like I can't. There's only one show that I can think of that I
Mm-hmm.
had bought, or no, it was two TV show episodes that I had bought, and they're both locked onto my PlayStation 3. But I
Mm-hmm.
was gonna get them by other means and call it a day, anyways. But I would hate to like, you purchase it, and it's just like gone. I have one thing that I did purchase digitally. Uh, the Mike Tyson's Mysteries, the 4 seasons of it.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I couldn't find the like digital disc, and I wasn't bothering to download it, so I bought it off of Prime Video uh, through Amazon. So I just have it, right? So whenever I want to watch it, I can just turn on Prime Video and boom. And I've done that several times, like way too much for the average person to like rewatch this series. But if they were just like, "Hey, we know you spent like, I think it was either 15 to 20 bucks for the four, like each season for like 4 seasons," it'll be
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, it's just gone now." It's like, well, then give me my $60 back, like, because I bought it, I didn't rent it, I bought it. Give me my money back if you're gonna pull it. And that's what I suggest. If you have TV shows, look to see when they're going to be removed. If you can find the price you paid to buy it, hold on to those, because I feel like that is a lawsuit where you could be like, I was under, like, thought that I bought this, I now own this. You can't pull this away. Give me my money back.
Yeah, I could see them to really save face and avoid a lawsuit, like refunding everybody, or giving some sort of gift card. I think they might go with some sort of like store credit thing because it don't sound like
That's
Sony gonna have the
yeah.
money with all these lawsuits and then
So,
losing Call of Duty and the
or
money or whatever.
I don't know, like, like a free, I guess, free few months, like just a subscription to Discovery, because that's the channels that they're like pulling, like losing stuff from.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I don't think
something.
that's equate. I don't think that equates to it because you go
I
from
agree.
owning it to like you get a certain amount of time
To
to
watch, yeah,
watching it.
I
Like they would
agree with you.
have to give them their actual money back what they can make a purchase.
Yeah,
I think that's what they would have to do. Um, cause yeah, that's bad. I would be mad too if it was like if I don't really buy TV shows and stuff, but I'll be hearing people saying all this stuff, support this person, support that one, and then you buy like some sort of full DVD ish type set, digitally, I guess, and then it's just gone. Like what? Like way past the refund stage or whatever. It's just simply gone. I would be a little upset about that. Like if it was like like a full show, like all seasons, start to
yeah,
finish.
and then it's
Uh,
just you don't have it anymore, huh?
Cause I don't understand. Cause I think before there was an excuse that was made that the reason why PS Plus needed to be more expensive had something to do with this type of media at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Not even just
Yeah,
games, but it's
they said high quality stuff, and then they're still giving out low quality, but then also uh they have their own movie thing now, which you still have to rent the movies. It's not all free. Like the movies that are free are like 4 to 5 years old.
yeah. That's
Like
why I'm making more of a push towards like not playing multiplayer over there or dealing with that storefront because with all these type of things happening, it seems to be more on the console side where like the PC side, unfortunately, it seems like the red carpet is like laid out for them. But if you bought something over there, like nobody takes anything from you, um, under Steam, under Amazon, right? Like you just have it. But I refuse to play this type of game with PlayStation. Like if you're charging me more, but then the quality is just diminishing like rapidly. I don't see the point in
well, if I'm not
having it.
mistaken, even if things are removed from the storefront for like
Hmm.
Steam, if you had already bought it, you bought it. Right?
Yeah,
Yours is just we're blocking it from being purchased anymore because this doesn't represent our store or something like that. But if
right.
you got it, you got it. Where I can't believe this. Like I don't know. It's apparently this isn't the first time they've done it, but like I don't remember it before. Uh, it's just
Yeah.
weird to me the idea of like you purchased. I don't care if it's digital. If you purchased it, it's yours. Like
Yeah.
it's not like you're copying it and like trying to resell it, right? Like breaking copyright laws. It's yours to watch wherever you want, whenever you want. Digital should be more convenient. No,
Yeah.
scary.
The idea of it just being removed from your library is crazy to me.
It
Um,
is.
that's kind of crazy. So that makes me not be like I couldn't be mad at anybody who turned towards piracy at all. Like how could you be
I
mad at them?
agree.
Um, and what they fail to realize, like I kept saying this for time and time again before, like if you're gonna push for that type of control, don't be surprised if the primary audience pushes back, and they already are. They do this in their discords and all of that stuff, and just pirate your stuff. That's and we're talking movies. It's not even that you don't need a patch update for a movie. The
Nope.
movie is as is from day one. You know what I mean? Like I want to go see the Godzilla movie in theaters at some point this month, later on this month before Christmas. But that movie is as is, right? It's not nothing else is going to change about it. So technically it could hit the internet at some point if it isn't already on there, and I could just watch it right at home. You know what I'm saying? I choose to go and get it, or go watch it on inside of somebody's theater. But like, if somebody was to take it from me and I had bought it under PlayStation, like I may not ever buy another one of those movies ever again. It would get pirated from day one, like from here on out, basically. If that's how you go be, and I don't see any money back for
I
it,
agree.
I think all of them should definitely get their money back. I can't, like, an equivalent on the storefront is kind of like useless to them because the first thing they're going to say is like, well, how do I know you're not going to take the next thing? Even if it's a game, like, how do I know you're not
Yeah.
going to take it? I bought a lot of digital games on PlayStation. It's a couple games that I bought on there that I bought this Black Friday, if I'm not mistaken. But if I was to just one day wake up and all of a sudden it's just gone, like that's not cool to me at all. Like, even if it's like 2 generations from now, I don't care. I was already talking about how I might get a second set of both systems because of their bundle deals last week and stuff. It's like the reason you would do that is because you're still trying to preserve your purchase. Like I don't know, I would not want somebody to tell me all of a sudden I don't have access to it. I would want them to turn themselves into Google Stadia, and I still have access to the stuff I've purchased. If I have the equipment. Now, I guess that's a bad example because Google Stadia refunded everybody. But you know what I'm saying? Well, Dreamcast,
Yeah,
for example. Dreamcast, everybody is still making games for Dreamcast to this day, which is so strange as it is. And then you can still buy the original games. You can still buy the Dreamcast and buy upgrades for it and mod it out. I think you should have the ability to do that under anybody's storefront once you've bought something. I don't care how old it is.
Well, I mean, so like to make that point, I checked it the other day, right? So you know how you can't buy any more like PS Vita stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I turned on my Vita the other day just to check, and I still have access to all of the games. Uh,
Yeah, that's how
like
it
I
should
have
be.
access to
Anything
all of
that
my
you
stuff
bought.
on there. I can't get new things, right? Because the storefront
Right.
is down. But like the games will update or whatever. I even checked that I clicked on a game that was like older, and it still did the update for it. You just can't, buy new stuff. But like
Right.
whatever I had already bought for my Vita, it's on my Vita, and a good chunk of those are digital.
Yeah.
For my Vita. So that's again, like you said, that's the way it should be.
Yeah. They should really watch how they try to, control their stores and stuff like that. Because if the people feel like they can't trust you, they literally will start pirating again. Like there was a decline in it in the recent years, but I remember at one point it was so rampant, especially in the movie space, where it didn't matter what the
Yep.
movie was. Even albums like music albums, people will have the albums 2 3 weeks before it even hits the store. It's so like literally like if you mess with people in this day and age where everything is more expensive and everything is inflated, it's like, well, I don't got no money for this and it's not even gonna be mine. All right, I'm
Yep.
gonna hit the download button. They're already like advertising VPNs. Honestly, what else would you use a VPN for? Let's really be
Bro, it's
clear here.
so heavy for the VPN. Matter of
Yeah,
fact, the only other thing I see a VPN advertised for is to trick streaming services into thinking you're somewhere else, so you can
yeah,
still steal, like basically. So,
yeah,
uh, yeah. But other than that, what else is the VPN? It's just like, hey, here's a deal for a VPN, so you can just use it because use it. And it's like, oh, I wonder what I'd use it for. You're right.
yeah. Because my purchase should be my purchase. You should not be, tampering with my purchase, which kind of goes into your other topic about the ads. You want to tell us about what's going on with Assassin's Creed? I think this. I remember this topic. I think it might have happened like right after last week. But yeah, go
It sure
ahead.
did. Right after last week. You're exactly right. So, somebody was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
Mm-hmm.
and during trying to go to the menu, uh, a giant full screen pop up ad for Assassin's Creed Mirage, I believe, popped up. And
That's absurd.
so of course, it was jarring and very upset because it's like I paid 60, like full price for this game. Why are you throwing ads at me in the middle of playing, like the middle of playing? And Ubisoft was like, "That was a technical error." It's just like in my head, it's like, in order for it to be a technical error, someone still had to make it like a thing, right? So
Yeah.
someone does not, at the very least, if we give them the benefit of the doubt, the very least someone designed ads for games and they said no, but they were still tied to a button. Like that's the only thing I can think
Mm-hmm.
of. Because other than it's like you planned for this to be in there, and it's like that is not the future we need. I'm getting pop-up ad. If I get a pop-up ad when I'm trying to access the menu in your bloated game, right? Keep in mind, it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey where it's bloated with all these markers on the map. And if I'm trying
Yeah.
to check something and I had to sit through a 30-second ad, I have to deal with a pop up. Like we have problems because I spent full price.
Right. Yeah, that looked goofy. I think their explanation was even more goofy. They tried it and they caught the backlash. I remember talking about it a long, long time ago, where I was like, they're gonna start trying to get away with putting ads in games and stuff.
Yep.
Um, I think we need to probably address this a little bit because I think I said this recently too. The ads don't work when you know
Nope.
it's an ad. When you address it as an ad and you call it by name, it doesn't work. Like the idea at some point was quite literally to brainwash you into wanting a product. That doesn't work when you're hip to it. So I don't know, like you can't even, you would have to literally um find a way to give me your product in a way where I would want it or like feel more interested in it. But it's to the point now where if you're going to inject it directly in the purchase, it's like it must not be working on your end. People not buying it, you know. Assassin's Creed at the same time as Assassin's Creed. It's like, do you really need to do ads like that?
No.
It's just kind of silly, but for everybody else, I'm just saying like it's just not going to work. It's almost like now like instead of the ad being like in between songs, it's going to end up being in the song. Like in the middle of the hook, they'll just have it like echoing in the background or something. But I was just like, yo, it's not
Oh.
gonna work. It's just not gonna work. I know what it is. It reminds me of when somebody on a YouTube video would try to say, "Oh, this video isn't sponsored." It's like if ads worked, you would not have to address that. You would not have to say that. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have to be like, oh, I gotta make sure my audience knows I'm not trying to sell them anything. It's just because because people have been so sick of ads over the decades. Now people have to tell you this is or this isn't a sponsored like post or sponsored video.
Yep.
And so that lets you know like it's not gonna work. So I don't know who the ads are gonna be for going forward, but it's not gonna work here for the same reason why I didn't buy Gigabash. Certain games and stuff or certain things you just don't want to spend the money on. It's just, it can be as absurd as less like $10 for me. It's like a $10 or $15 difference made it to where I didn't want to buy the game, even though I would have just made the one-time purchase and I would have quote unquote owned it forever. I don't care. It costs too much at the moment. And that's just how it is for a lot of games going forward. This Black Friday was one of the worst Black Fridays for retail. And that's their fault. That's not our fault. Ain't nobody tell you to take the Black Friday tickets or something. If you move it to the side, it's got the same price as what it was on sale like the week or two before or whatever. There's been so many videos of that at Target, even though I praise Target and Walmart and Best Buy, a couple other places where if you just move the paper to the side, the price was exactly the same. They just put the word Black Friday on it. Oh, yeah. I'm like, well, people are not stupid. Like, people are not stupid. They're not going to buy it. And they have enough sense to literally move the tag out of the way. And they'll have enough sense to look at your product now. I'm like, well, I'm just not going to buy your product now because I just simply don't want it. It costs too much. Oh, well. The price of making stuff can go up as high as they want to. That don't mean I got to spend the $70. That don't mean I have to buy the movie or whatever. So that it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm gonna have a jolly old Christmas, but that don't mean I'm about to go buy as much stuff as I just bought from Black Friday. I usually don't. Yeah. I usually be the stragglers, right? If you had a little extra money, but no, I'm not about to put up with that. It is what it is for their ads and stuff. It's just not gonna work. I don't know how they're gonna like do their thing going forward, the industry. But let's be clear here. The NFTs did not work. It died very quickly. It did not work. What it sounds like, the live services ain't working either. That's dying very fast. So I don't know what to tell y'all. And the ads are in that category. It's not going to work. It's just not. If we don't want your product, we simply don't want your product. And how about y'all consolidate some of y'all efforts down to really making a quality product again? Just make a quality product. Make one of the best Assassin's Creeds you can ever make, and there will be no need to advertise in there. GTA 6 put out that they're going to release their trailer. They did that just like on social media somewhere. It didn't flash in GTA 5. There's no need for it to flash in the GTA 5. They made a quality product that people just simply can't stop playing. That's just the end of it. So just do the same. Speaking of quality products, I guess I can mention this real quick. It's kind of funny. I don't know how quality this is, but the Batman trilogy finally made its way onto Nintendo. Apparently it did not actually look that good, but
I heard it wasn't as bad as it could have been. That's what I heard. Like, it wasn't as bad as we thought it would be.
I heard that from the Nintendo crowd. Everybody else was not really as fair, quote unquote, as you can say, but they were comparing it to like the PS5 version and the Xbox version. It's like, well, it's not gonna look that good.
Also
but
true.
It's just basically it's not as good as a performance as the other systems. I mean, it's on the Switch though, but it did make it onto the Switch. So shout out to that.
They got exclusive looks is the Batman costume. So that's not on other systems yet. It's only on the Switch right now.
Yeah, that will be a free update on everything else just in time for me to play the game. I was going to play the game sometime next year. Because that was Batman Arkham Knight. I played Asylum and I played
City.
City. But I actually
Did you
held
play
off on
Origin?
Arkham Knight. Huh?
Did you play Origin?
No, I didn't play Origin
Okay,
yet.
I played Origin. I liked it.
I don't have access to it yet, but I might actually get that on Series X. I saw they had a Series X version. But yeah, yeah. So it made it onto Nintendo. I decided to make an impromptu video as well for Nintendo, saying that I think Nintendo is going to dominate 2024. And despite what's coming out on the other two systems, I honestly believe that they are. I wanted to get your input on it. So I made the video and I was mainly saying that that's going to be the year that they announce the Switch 2, and that we're going to probably see the Switch 2 at the end of the year in the holiday season. And it's probably going to be accompanied by Mario Kart 9 and Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey 2, or whatever other name, but a new 3D Mario. And my logic was, if they came out with Super Mario Wonder, as well as followed by the RPG game remake or remaster, probably remake, and their lineup for the beginning of the year of Mario versus Donkey Kong, and then the Peach game, and somewhere throwing in the remaster of Luigi's Mansion and stuff. They do all of that until a certain point. If you notice, all of those things are set to come out, and then it stops at like March, or right after March there's nothing else. And then my thought process is like, I don't think they're going to stop their momentum. I think that's just the only thing that they told us so far. And then right after that, they have a direct or something, and they show you the Switch 2. That's what I'm thinking. And
Sounds right to
then
me.
I think they're going to have their releases already. Then they're going to tell you about that, and they're going to have Mario Kart 9 and the Odyssey 2 with it, and possibly Metroid Prime 4. And I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the only one that's going to be a cross-gen game, because they promised it on the Switch 1. And other than that, they're going to conquer the handheld market all over again, because more people care about Nintendo because it's Nintendo. And all those games are going to come out. I did also say that there are going to be $70. I do think that's going to happen. But other than that, yeah, I think they're going to dominate 2024. I think there's going to be still some more releases at that point. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be mainly Mario, because they always go with Mario. And the logic was still, they fleshed out as much Mario as they could, but didn't hold back one of them for the next year, which tells me that they have a bigger one for next year, which has to be the 3D one or the racer, by just common
Okay.
sense. What do you think?
I mean, all of that sounds correct to me. I
Yeah.
can't think of anything else they would do. Like that sounds all correct to me.
I did say also that we may see a noticeable absence from Zelda from a little while, because their biggest car was Tears of the Kingdom, and it's very successful. But I think the basically the big push is going to be towards Mario. That's what I think. And they can't lose with Mario. They never lose with Mario. Excuse me. I had to drink some water.
Yeah,
But
no, I mean, no, that seems right to me. I also wouldn't be surprised. The focus is going to be on Mario, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they also announce the black and white remakes for this.
probably.
Because for me personally, Emerald was like my favorite of the Pokemon games.
Okay.
For many, black and white I believe are considered the best. Uh yeah, if I'm not mistaken, black and white are considered the best ones, and they have to be considered arguably the best antagonist in the game. And I believe I'm thinking of the right one, black and white, with N as the villain. Uh, but I wouldn't be surprised if their remakes are also announced. as like Switch 2 like
Yeah, I think the system itself is not going to
or
come
like
out until like November. Like
yeah, and I wouldn't be
literally.
surprised if like the things coming out in November would be a new Mario Kart, and Pokemon Black and White remake.
Yeah, because I think they'll still fill up the remainder of the year with some random stuff. I
Yeah,
don't think that
but
they was just going to have, because it really doesn't make sense when you look at that timeline. They put everything back to back and then it stops.
yep,
It's like, I was like, no, they just don't want to tell you yet. And like they wouldn't put them all one month after another. It would have been every other month. Like you would
yeah,
see like Super Mario RPG, for example, would have probably been for January. Like why would that follow, Super Mario Wonder right away? And then at the same time, it's like you would have held out Super Mario Wonder for the Switch as a Switch 2 like launch title if you like didn't have the Super Mario Odyssey. You know what I'm saying? And then Super Mario Odyssey came out in 2017. So at the same time there's plenty of time to be working on the sequel. And then they just finished all of their DLC tracks for Super Mario or Mario Kart 9, right? Or 8, right? So it's like that to me seems like it just lines right up. So I made that in a solo video. I don't know when I'm going to put that out because I think everything and everybody's going to be talking about GTA next week. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's going to dominate next year. Pretty much everything that they have. The other two systems, I don't know what's going to be beating that, to be honest with you. Yes, there's still going to be GTA 6, and GTA 6 is still going to dominate its month. But for the year, I think it's going to probably be Nintendo's year. Because at the same time, it's funny because I still criticize Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, I criticize them all the time, but I have to give them some props and respect for having back to back exclusives. They're trying to compete with the Playdate. They got back to back every month exclusives that are on their platform, is not being shared with the PC and is not
yep.
anywhere else legally, at least. It's back to back, right? I'm one of the other games I actually did buy yesterday was it didn't make the what technically was in the Black Friday video. Y'all see. But Super Mario RPG, I bought it yesterday. I used my December $5 off at GameStop early. I also exploited their online points that they had still waiting for me, as well as some of my other discounts on my end. So the game cost me $28.57, I think, altogether. And I was able to get that game. And I do plan on buying the Mario versus Donkey Kong puzzle game that they got coming. And I think it's in February. And the Peach game that's going to be in March. I do want to buy them. That's mainly what I was using the GameStop $5 off for anyway. Because Nintendo games they don't go down in price. And I think right after that, once we hit Switch 2 territory this time next year, everything's going to be 70 going forward. And I think there's no way around it. That's what's going to probably happen. But
Yep.
that's my prediction for Nintendo is 2024 is them. I think they still have more things like in the can that we probably don't know about. Like for example, I
Another crab
wouldn't.
treasure.
Well, that one's more multiplat. I don't know if that's really like their game, but I was talking like on the lines of like some of the other characters that are under Super Smash Brothers, but mainly Donkey Kong. I think Donkey Kong might make a return.
Can you imagine if they announced a Star Fox game, bro, for like Switch 2?
Yeah, if they listen to the critics, if they saw some of my earlier work, or I don't know, maybe Maybe some of the ambassadors out there, they finally doing their job. I don't know. But don't get me wrong, Mario, you're gonna see just as much Mario as ever. I don't think that's gonna stop at all. He's gonna play tennis. He's gonna be a. He's gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a Mario basketball. That would I would like. I would like to see that. That would be kind of cool. Be interesting. If they what if they did that? They just all of a sudden they came out with their own 2K. What if they called it that Super Mario 2K, and then it just like every year and only Nintendo would get away with it. But
I might have to try it.
yeah. Shout out to Alan Wake. I think this is like the main part of the ending ish of the first game. From what I could see, there's a lot more going on after this, but this is like the biggest thing. This I remember this tornado thing. But yeah. Back to your other topic for a second because this is almost over. Um, any games you plan on getting for the end of the year? Not really anything else
Well,
that's
well,
important.
okay.
But I will say, there was like three games that I had in the cart on GameStop. If I was to keep exploiting their online system, do you know their points online that they were supposed to get rid of and replace? Like I was able to use those, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that's what really knocked down my Super Mario RPG game. But then if I go log in, it's still there. Like
Oh,
it is still there, and it's still saying it's
might
not
have gotten
expiring.
you might
It
have gotten points back from purchasing.
No, it's the same ones that I redeemed.
Oh,
It's the exact same ones because it was in limbo. I think they were supposed to erase it, but didn't erase it correctly or something. Because they were supposed to give it back to me because I redeemed it the wrong way. They said you can't unredeem it once you redeem it. I complained like Cameron, that was the story from before. And then they
right.
did. But instead of doing, they just added the points to the thing, but didn't take away the ones that was redeemed. And so they're on there in limbo. Like they say they expired this January 31st, but I attempted to use them last month just to see if I can use it, and it wouldn't let me use it, and it even logged me out. And then I logged back in and it was still there, but I just left it alone. This time, yesterday, I was able to use it and added it with the $5 off. And then they already had their own little $5 off if you add it to the store inside of a store. It was like a
Yeah.
whole thing. And so, long story short, I did it, got RPG super reduced now. And I was like, I don't know if that worked or not because the points are still showing there, but I'll know once I grab the product. And I had the product in hand, brought the product home, and then I saw my receipt and everything, from like my email. And sure enough, I still had my discount, and I got the game. And then I'm looking back at it, and it's like still there, and I'm like, all right. So I'm not gonna like spam it. Like it's not that many games that I would spam it every day. But I'm gonna try it again when with one of these games that I do have in the cart. So the games I do have in the cart is called Wanted Dead. That one is showing on sale for 15. Octopath Travelers 2, the PS5 version, that's 30. And then Yeast 8. I don't know if I said it right. YS8. Um, Lacrimosa of Dana Deluxe Edition. I think I said that wrong, but
Probably.
that's in there. It's one of those like action JRPGs that don't usually go down. And so
Yeah.
those are in the cart. I don't think that I'm going to be able to actually get them all, if any of them, because those are also the ones where I was trying to get them for Black Friday, but you know how it would be like, oh, it's not available to ship for whatever reason, something stupid like that, and like we can't ship it to you. You can only get it in store, and then it's not available within so many miles of you. And just stupid. It's
Yep.
just really stupid. So it's GameStop's error, but yeah, all of those are there. But to end it off, man, what was your game, and then we can get out of
Yeah.
here.
So, what I was saying for the time is like, is there any game you plan on like? Uh, Exile. I don't know if there's anything I'm going to be purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
Son, still want to try that out. But the game that I for sure I'll probably be playing before the end of the year is Uncharted 3. So
Okay.
2 years ago I played Uncharted like 1 finally, and then last year Uncharted 2. So then this year I'll play Uncharted 3, and then by the end of next year play Uncharted 4.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, I'm still running through literally all of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, the Alan Wake series is on the screen. I have started Quantum Break. I will have
Hey.
footage for it soon. I do want to kind of get through most of it before I start introducing that footage. But not only that, I've been actually dibbling and dabbling with remote play on the ROG Alley on the for the PS5, kind of in the spirit of everybody playing with the Portal. Um, is for me, it's just the ROG Alley. I'm getting the same results. But I've been playing Crash Bandicoot. It's about time. On the Ally through the PS5. Sometimes I go directly under the PS5 because I want to grab some footage. Like I grabbed a little bit of footage. But that
Okay.
was another one of those PS Plus games that I'm just trying to get through before it expires. And I got about a year. And yeah, I've been doing that. Um, Interesting enough, I found this out that I can mention right before we leave. People who do have the PlayStation Portable, is it portable or portal? I keep saying both, but
Portable.
people who have that, say it again. What is it?
I think it's portable.
Well, people who have that, sometimes they experience issues where the audio cuts in and out. I thought that was an issue that I had on the Ally because of my
Oh,
internet
I
and
was
that
wrong. It's PlayStation Portal.
it's
It's
fake
portable.
PSP is what I'm about to call it in a second. But I had audio issues with the ROG Ally and I thought it was because I didn't have the bit rate correctly. Come to find out, everybody's having those type of issues, and that's more of an internet thing. So if your internet sucks, it's their internet problem. Is not necessarily their product problem, but that means you have the same kind of audio issue if you did it on the ROG Ally or on the PlayStation Portable, basically. So just so people would know, that is an internet issue and not necessarily the hardware issue. But
Okay.
yep, that's all I got for you here. We are about to get up out of here. We'll play some Remnant 2. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Look out for some videos. I'm going to hopefully get that done for Monday. And then a couple of them might go out after that. And yeah, peace.